The days after the visit to the grave were different. Not perfect, not magical, just different. John noticed it first. Kevin started calling. Not often, not long, but he called. Papa, how are you? Mama, did you eat? Small words, heavy meaning. Precious would sit after the calls, staring at the wall, holding her chest. Even if it ends here, she whispered one night, at least my heart has heard his voice again. But life does not erase the past easily. Lydia watched the changes closely. She noticed Kevin sending food money. She noticed his tone when she spoke harshly. She noticed how he defended respect, calmly, firmly. One evening, she finally asked him, "Why have you changed?" Kevin did not answer immediately. He looked at his hands. Then he said, "I saw my future and I didn't like it." She laughed softly. "You believe those old village things now?" Kevin stood up. "This is not about belief," he said. "It's about patterns. My father made mistakes. So did my mother, and I am standing at the door of the same mistake." He looked at her. "If we plant bitterness, we will harvest loneliness." Lydia went quiet. For the first time since marriage, Kevin did not bend. Back in the village, life remained hard. Money was still scarce. The roof still leaked. Food still finished quickly. But something else had returned. Peace. John slept better. Precious smiled more. One afternoon, a visitor came. A letter. Kevin had applied for a job months ago. Before marriage, before regret, before apologies. The letter had been delayed. He was invited for an interview. John held the paper with shaking hands. "Is this?" he asked. Precious nodded, already crying. "It's moving," she said. "Something is moving." The interview went well, not because Kevin was lucky, but because he was prepared. Years of struggle had trained him. Weeks later, he got the job. Not a big one, not yet, but it was a beginning. Kevin visited his parents, not to announce, not to boast. He came with food, with medicine, with time. He sat on the same bench where hunger once sat, and John understood something painful and true. Correction does not erase consequences, but it can shorten their lifespan. That night, Kevin sat alone, thinking. He remembered how easily he almost repeated history, how love had blinded him, how silence had almost become abandonment. And he asked himself a question that would decide everything. Will I be the end of this pain, or just another chapter? Because forgiveness opens doors, but character decides which ones you walk through. Kevin returned to the village early in the morning. The sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky with soft gold. He carried a quiet determination with him. He had watched his parents, John and Precious, endure years of struggle. He had seen the weight of their sacrifices, the endless mornings cooking, the sleepless nights, the heavy loads, the hunger, the tears. Now it was his turn. "Papa, Mama," he said softly, "come with me. Let's go home. The city awaits us." John and Precious looked at each other. Their faces were tired, lined with years of hardship, but there was a spark, a hope they had not felt in a long time. They packed lightly, few belongings, but hearts full of anticipation. The journey to the city was slow, careful. They crossed rivers, dirt roads, and familiar fields. Every step reminded them of the path they had walked together, the struggle, the pain, the love. When they arrived in the city, Kevin had prepared a small but cozy home. Not extravagant, not flashy, just a space where they could rest, eat, and live in peace. The walls were painted warm beige, Sunlight spilled through the windows, and a gentle breeze came through the open balcony. John took a deep breath. This is a blessing," he whispered. Precious smiled, tears in her eyes. "For the first time in so long, I feel safe." And then came the moment of truth. Lydia, Kevin's wife, stood at the doorway. Her face showed nervousness and regret. She approached Precious slowly, bowing her head. I'm sorry," Lydia said softly. "I was wrong to treat you the way I did before. I didn't understand then, but I do now. Please forgive me." Precious reached out her hand. "I forgive you," she said gently, "and I pray you never forget the lessons we've all learnt." Kevin smiled, relief washing over him. "Let's start anew," he said, holding his mother's hand and his wife's other hand. The family settled in. They cooked together. They laughed together. They shared meals, stories, and quiet moments. And somewhere in that home, they all knew. The cycles of neglect and pain had ended. Respect, love, and understanding now ruled their hearts. Some mothers-in-law are hard, some are gentle. Don't conclude without knowing her heart first. Respect must be earned and given, for it shapes generations. The family now lived together peacefully. The lessons of the past had been honored, the prayers of Mama John fulfilled, and the next generation was being raised in love, humility, and respect. The end.